Welcome to the Self Podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa, and today we're going to talk about who is society. Now, this can be kind of a philosophical question, I guess. I know there's a definition officially, but it almost feels like it isn't real sometimes. And what I mean by this is a lot of the time people say, oh, there's all these societal expectations of who you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do, what life you're supposed to live, but who really says? There's not, it's like society doesn't really actually have a voice. It's just something that's said over and over again of that you should be a sort of way. But should and shouldn't doesn't really exist now, does it? It really just is and what isn't. What's true and what's false. What's not true. And if there's this idea that society isn't real, then why should we live by its rules? Why should we limit ourselves to what society, quote unquote, says to do or what we should do or all these other things? Why should we feel the need to fit in? Why shouldn't we want to be different? Why shouldn't we want to express ourselves for our unique selves? And I know that's hard sometimes. I know that it's hard to really step into your power and become not only the main character of your story, but the director, sharing to the world who you are and what you stand for. And I know it's nerve-wracking that to go against everyone, it seems like, even though that's like kind of manipulation to say everyone. It's so nerve-wracking, but at the same time, why would you want to live small? Why wouldn't you want to live big and have everything you ever desired? And yes, I know that we all have insecurities, and sometimes that might hold you back, or you might say, man, I don't think I can do this. It's kind of like right now, I've been procrastinating this podcast for so long. But at the end of the day, if we die tomorrow, if we die right now, aren't we gonna want to wish that when we're on our deathbed that we did something with our lives, that we lived big, that we had everything that we ever desired? And it's possible because I've seen other people have it. And I use the lives of the people around me as inspiration, not as jealousy. You can either live in jealousy or be inspired. You can either criticize or become curious. It's all a decision. It's a choice between negativity and positivity, whether you want to live on a lower vibration or higher vibration that lifts others up, and also yourself. So at the end of the day, do you want to live small? Or do you want to live big? Do you want to be guided by God? Or if you don't believe in God, the universe, whenever I say God, you can just switch it with the universe and be guided on your right path, on your right journey, on your right purpose, with the right people at the right time. Sometimes I really doubt these purposes of your existence, particularly my own, and I've kind of seen in the past few days of how I'm being guided. Whenever I pray for something, I pray for guidance. Because a lot of the time I feel lost. And I feel like that is something a lot of us go through. But I still seem to have that faith. And I think when we have faith in God, faith in the higher power of the universe, it really allows for a lot more opportunities to come through. Or maybe if you don't have any expectations that you make, you can't ever be disappointed. What you can be is blown away about all of the things that worked out way better than you imagined. So this actually recently happened to me. And it's about business. I'm really into business. I like business. I think that's probably where I'll end up at some point in my life. But it really started, I was on YouTube and I see this video about the economy in Japan, which I found super interesting, about how they usually stick with one company their entire lives, because that's just so different from the place that I live. And just the kind of society that I have and the way that my country lives around jobs and economics. Then the next day, my professor starts talking about the economy of different countries and how society affects them. And I found this so interesting. And I was thinking at that point, like, wow, I remember from yesterday that I saw this video about Japan's economy and their societal way that they live around, how they work. And I was just like, this is so miraculous. And then I go to talk to my tutor later on and find out that this guy, he is actually in an internship for helping entrepreneurs all around the world, which I thought this was insane. Like, this could not be happening because I am interested in entrepreneurship. It's just like, what the pairing to help me get to the next level of this knowledge was just really insane. And so we talked about international business for a while and how societies change businesses and how they're formed and the success of those businesses. And I thought this was so interesting that God put this person in my life. And the thing about this tutor is, when I was trying to book it, I really only like in-person tutors. And he was the only tutor that was in person. And even before that, there were no tutors, actually. But then he just randomly popped up. So he was the only person that I could go with to tutor at that time. And even then, the appointments were actually not in person. They were online because of his internship. And it was just so miraculous that I was able to talk to him and communicate with him, and this guidance that I had received from God. So with that experience, I kind of hope that you take away that it is possible to be guided if you believe, and it is possible to have things work out, because everything is working out in your favor, even if it doesn't feel like it. Even if you don't want your reality right now, is all meant for you. And just keep looking up, keep being positive, keep giving yourself positive affirmations that everything is working out, not just to you, but for you and your best interest. So going back to who is society and what does that mean? Because also, I've noticed this stereotype because I've been spending a lot of time alone. And it's been fantastic having my solitude. But everybody kind of looks at me like, oh, you're alone, you're lonely, you're sad. But I'm actually none of those things. I'm literally thriving. And that's when I'm also like, if society's also making these stereotypes, who are you to judge my life? Especially when I am the only one in my realm that can make a solid opinion about my life. Only valid opinion about my life is from me, because there is nobody in this world that knows me better than myself and all the experiences that came with that. So then I kind of asked, it's just like, so if I'm the only one that has a valid opinion about myself, then who is society? Who is society to tell me who I am and who I should be? That concludes today's podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.